Hey guys, MarvelFan45 here, and I've been talking about doing this video for a while now, but I finally rewatched it, so yeah, let's get into it. Dune 2021, Revisited. So, the first time I saw Dune, I thought it was a pretty good movie. Visually stunning, score was great, but a tad too boring in places. And this rewatch just kinda confirmed my previous opinions, but made some of them worse. The main thing being the first half is a drudge to get through. Like, the first half is so incredibly boring that, like, I don't even know. Like, I was fading in and out. Like, I was checked out by the time, literally within the opening 10 minutes, because I was like, I do not care about any of this. Like, and I went into it expecting, like, I went into it with the expectations that it would be, like, a more psychedelic, like, slower type film. And it really just doesn't succeed in that at all, because it's just boring. Like, it's not even that interesting. Like, the book is great in my opinion. Actually, no, I won't bring up any comparisons to the book because I want to be completely fair here. But yeah, this movie is just like exposition scene after exposition scene after exposition scene after exposition scene. Boom, action scene, exposition scene, exposition scene, action scene, exposition scene. Like, the exposition is non-stop, which is not good. Now, again, I don't have an issue with exposition in general. Exposition can be done well, but, like, there's a certain point where there's too much exposition. Like, what's a good example? Christopher Nolan movie, I don't know. Inception. Okay. So in that movie, they literally explain everything, like, bit by bit. Although, it makes sense for that movie, because that movie's, like, super complex. This movie, I'm just kidding, it's not that complex. But this movie is really not that hard to understand. It's very clear what's happening from, like, the opening. In the opening 10 minutes, you can figure out what's gonna happen. Like, that's how easy it is to understand this. Like, super simple. Spice, betrayal, and possible romance, which I'll talk about once we get to part 2. But, I don't know, this movie is just, like, a big ball of, like, disappointment. Like, the camera work is amazing. Like, me and the Legally Blind critic, we were watching it together, and every, like, few minutes we would go, oh wow, that shot's amazing. And then, like, during the dialogue scenes we would be like, oh, I don't care, like, at all what's happening. Like, because the dialogue is just, maybe it's the way the actors deliver it too. Like, Momoa is the only person with charisma in this movie. Like, Jason Momoa is the best actor in this movie. Timothy Chalamet, Rebecca Ferguson, Oscar Isaac, Josh Brolin, I forget who plays Emperor Harkonnen, or not Emperor Harkonnen, Baron Harkonnen. Dave Bautista. They're all such, like, they're also bland in this movie. Like, they don't give anything, like, special to their roles at all. It's just, like, the entire movie is just characters whispering like this about, like, deep lore stuff. Like, again, I've read the books, but, like, some of the lore scenes are interesting. Like, it was cool to see a sandworm. But, like, can't believe I'm gonna say this. Dune 1984, the David Lynch version, is better than this movie. That is probably considered a hot take, but that doesn't really matter. But the sandworm effects in Dune 1984 do not look that different from Dune 2021. In fact, I kinda enjoyed how fake the Dune 1984 sandworms were. The sandworms in this movie are big balls of CGI. Like, I wasn't the biggest fan of it. But, I mean, I have a lot to say about this movie. Like, Timothée Chalamet to play Paul was, in my opinion, not the right decision. I think he's just too, like, quiet to be Paul. Like, well, Paul is, like, a quiet character. Timothée Chalamet just makes him, like, an edgy teenager. Like, there's no nuance to it. It's just sort of, like, quiet talking. I'm having dreams. Like, the generic chosen one. Teen child, basically. It's just completely uninteresting in the way he portrays it. Rebecca Ferguson is, in my opinion, completely miscast as Lady Jessica. She just, like, none of the characters are interesting, like, in this movie. Like, I said this in my Letterboxd review. Zendaya does not say a single word in this movie. She has, like, a few lines. And she's the best character in the full movie. That's how, like, uninteresting this movie is. Like, half of this movie is just, like, shots of Zendaya, like, gazing off into the distance. And that's it. But, like, can't spoil anything. But it's just, like, the trailers. I think the trailers, like, really helped nail this movie in the coffin. So when I first saw it, the trailers made it out to be this big, bombastic, action-filled film. And it's really not that. So this time I went into it, like, expecting, like, a slower, more, like, steady take on Dune. And I didn't get that. I just got, like, a boring movie. Like, this is what happened with Blade Runner 2049. Like, the OG Blade Runner is very possibly my favorite movie. Blade Runner 2049, just Ryan Reynolds walking around for 2 hours. That's my opinion on it. But this, Dune is just, like, massively disappointing to me. Like, it could have been so good. I think I'm gonna end it off here, but I needed to rant about this movie for a little bit. If I need to fall asleep, I will turn on Dune. Stay safe and have a good day.